you. Hope we don't disappoint. The long-awaited, nice introduction. Thanks for that, Eric. I'll go ahead and introduce our team so everybody knows kind of who's representing the nice team. Myself, Scott Steinert. I'm in our Premier West sales organization, and I support geography of Nevada and Arizona and some other Western regions, but primarily Nevada, Arizona focused. My sales engineer is Diego Cuevas, and he'll be doing much of the presenting today from a platform perspective. Representing our digital team is Virgie Mance. Hi, Virgie. Thanks for being on camera. Good to see you. And JD Horton, who's representing our WFM team. He is also on. Hi, JD. And a couple folks who could make it, but subsequent meetings, if necessary, will certainly engage some additional resources and subject matter experts who may be required to kind of do deep dives or workshops as needed. So that's just a little heads up as to who we are. Not sure who we should turn it over to on the Reliance team for quick introductions. Who should that be?
Julio,
Good
you want to start
question.
for us? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Right
Yeah,
ahead.
so I'm Julio Trinidad, and I manage the Voice or IP group for Reliance Inc.
Nice to meet you, Julio.
I'm Charisse Kobler. I am the support desk manager.
Great. Hi, Charisse.
I'm Susan Kassan. I'm on the VoIP team under Julio.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, I'm Anthony. I'm also under Julio, Susan's teammate as well.
Great. Hi, Anthony.
Roger.
Hi, my name is Roger, and I'm with the supervisor with the support desk.
Hey, Roger. Good. Oh, good group. Did we miss anybody from on the Reliance side, or is that it?
That's everybody.
Okay, great.
And I think there's just two people on from C1.
There's three.
Oh,
There's
oh yeah, look
okay.
at that.
I joined a couple minutes late. I apologize.
Okay.
Jackie Ramsey.
Chuck Branham. I'm the principal advisor around the WEM platform.
Awesome. And I'm Eric Gentry.
Hey,
I'm
Eric.
the account manager that aligns to Reliance on the C1 side. That's us. That's everybody.
Super. All right. Well, with that behind us, we'll get started. And as Eric suggested, our hope is that this is somewhat free flowing. And if there's questions or comments or anything folks would like to add, feel free to jump in. We don't have any kind of hard stop or anything where we need to, move on at certain points. We're hoping this is very interactive and that you guys really see the platform for what it is. And we appreciate, first, let me say to the C1 team in engaging us with the opportunity. There's a strong alliance between our organizations. NICE has a great deal of, I would say, confidence in the folks over at C1 and their support of our platform. So really appreciate them including us in your evaluation process as you guys look to kind of transform your environment. So I've got a few things that I'll highlight here in a second, but let me just start off by summarizing what we understand, you guys, as far as what the objectives are at this time with your contact center environment. So a couple notes that I've taken from my conversations with the C1 folks, and happy to get some feedback on any one of these things if folks want to expound on some of the ideas that I've raised here. But I first sense here that there's a real interest in kind of modernizing your environment. And when I say that, I'm referring to things like, hey, there's capabilities in some of the advanced contact center that you'd like to enable. Omni-channel is a big one. So where people are very reliant on voice, that's kind of standard blocking and tackling for contact centers. People have now moved into SMS, or they've moved into email, or they've moved into chat, and now even social media interactions. And they want to now embrace all of those capabilities. And traditional, I would say premise-based solutions certainly have their challenges in supporting. Moving to an environment that more or less takes you out of a legacy into a modern environment would be key. Secondly, I understand call routing. That improves the customer experience. What I'm hearing from your side is, you've got auto attendant, maybe you've also got direct calling. You want to maybe enhance the ability to reconfigure how folks can reach your agents, how you may be able to support callback capabilities, maybe how you manage how that first call is received, maybe reducing the time to handle that call, how you treat it within the environment. Those things all improve that customer experience. I understand that's some of the goals as well. From an administrative perspective, I understand that you're looking to have a system that provides a great deal of ease of use. Today, I think you've described it as more or less you can set it and forget it, and it supports itself. There's very little fine tuning needed. The environment kind of supports itself. So stand it up with minimal requirements to enhance it going forward. So understand that was a priority. Integrations, you've got some primary applications like your CRM, you want that integrated in the platform. There's capabilities like a screen pop, or maybe pushing tasks back and forth, summarizing interactions, pushing them back and forth. That would be ideal to have. Moving on, maybe self-service. So I don't know, maybe anybody wants to comment on what the thought is around self-service and maybe how that could play in the environment. Self-service has become a very much, I would say, trending enhancement to most contact centers, where they can meet that interaction or that customer at the channel of their choice and start the interaction there, whether it's SMS, chat, a web page, and then guide them into the interaction through various means, and sometimes even self-serving that interaction through automation. So maybe that has a play in a roadmap long-term fit with you folks. And then also, and this is very common within maybe some legacy environments, is that your ability to gather the data, build reports based on that data, or capture the data on traditional interactions or that journey, being able to capture it, put it in a report, send it out, or build your own reports, or get access to even the data is somewhat difficult. So that would be something that I understand is one of your key objectives. Have I captured all of them? Are there any that you folks would like to add or see on this list?
Yeah, I think one bullet point that's missing is integration with ServiceNow.
Yeah, and that would be, as I'll get into kind of our presentation, that would be part of our integrations. So
okay.
Yeah, when I talk about here integrations with your primary application CRM, that would be ServiceNow. And that is an integration that we have out of the box available today. So we'll talk about that. Good call.
Okay, because we have integrations here that we would like to accomplish with ServiceNow and CRM. So
perfect.
For us, they're two separate components.
Perfect. Yep. And
okay.
and that's something available out of the get-go. Diego's actually going to be showing kind of our agent interface, if you will, within that kind of ServiceNow interface. So you can have some options on how you want that presented in a single pane of glass, if you want an extension. So we'll give you a couple options on what that looks like.
Okay.
Good. All right, let me jump into kind of what we're going to talk about today. And if there's anything we want to add, let me know. So I'm going to start off by introducing who NICE is, the platform, the CX1 platform itself. Diego's going to take us through really our next 5 points here. He's going to take us through our agent and supervisor experience, some of the reporting and recording capabilities, talk to you a little bit about quality management and how we can actually analyze every interaction, how we use our analytic platform to improve CSAT, and then we'll finish up with our AI-powered Agent Assist, which is called Copilot. Agent Assist, again, is one of those kind of trending capabilities that everybody wants to see in their platform now. So we'll give you a little flavor of what that looks like. Is there anything not on this list that you guys would like us to see? And this can be somewhat ad hoc, if you will. Is there something not here that you'd like to see?
Do you guys offer sentiment?
Yep. Yes, we do. And we
Perfect.
will talk about sentiment within our QM and then our Copilot and show you how we can pull that out in kind of a manual format where you can see customer sentiment. And then we'll show you how AI is used to give you that customer sentiment in real time. So, yep,
Okay.
we'll cover customer sentiment.
Perfect.
Good. All right. Well, let's get started. So, for those who don't know who NICE is, let me just kind of start at the basics. NICE is a corporation that spans across several different platforms. We have public safety, we have case management, and then we have a business unit that's customer experience. All of those kind of blend within each other, but NICE CX1 is the customer experience division within NICE. We're actually headquartered in Hoboken, New Jersey in North America, and then Tel Aviv in Israel. We have today over 6,000 customers. 1 million agents or more use our software every day when they log on to have interactions. We've actually been in this particular space under several different names for over 30 years. So we actually have 30 years worth of data that we're able to bring to our AI enlightened platform that we'll talk about here in a minute. And that helps us create better interactions through the AI capabilities of the platform. We have a heavy investment in R&D. It's really what sets us apart in the industry. We're bringing things to the market typically quicker than our competitors because of that investment. We're a $2 billion a year company. We are publicly traded, so we do have to report our financials quarterly. Significant amount of pre-built integrations and partners. I'll show you here as we get going. So like I said, NICE CX1 has been around for 30 years under several iterations. When we were purchased by NICE several years ago, we were rebranded as CX1. So that's the platform that our customers use today for customer experience. One of the things that really brought us into the forefront of the industry leadership back in 2015 is when our workforce engagement tools were really industry leading. So when it came to workforce management, when it came to quality management, performance management, those kinds of things that really put us at the forefront. Analytics really we put us at the top. We have a whole Nexidia arm that is exclusive to the analytics platforms. And then IEX, our workforce integration, workforce management solution is really the industry best of breed today. What sets us apart from our competitors today is the fact that our entire customer journey now is supported through AI as an underlying data layer. So as I said, as you look at our platform, a lot of things are manual. Yeah, I can pull data, I can pull reports, I can monitor on what I see visual level, but now AI is allowing us to automate a lot of those things and a lot of those alerts in real time. And our competitors are really now just starting to introduce AI. We've actually been using AI in our platform for about 3 years. It's only right now that the entire industry is really seeing the customer interest starting to take off. We're ranked really in the top levels by most of the industry analysts out there. We're a 9 times Gartner Magic Quadrant. Very happy with the accolades that we received over the years. Just a select snapshot of some of our customers, but when it comes to the top Fortune 100, we've got a really select group of customers that sit in that space that we're very proud that we have relationships with. So let's talk about the platform itself. And what it comes down to today with customers is the idea that how your brand is represented in your customer experience is really the difference. And I know in your space, you've got longtime customers that may be accustomed to reaching out when they, have a transaction or a reason to reach out to you. But in today's world too, there's a lot of customers that are actually talking to prospective customers for the first time. And sometimes, and most of the times I should say, that first interaction is how they're being analyzed, that's how they're being judged by those prospects. So it's very important that your brand is represented in the manner in which you want it to. So the customer experience has really many facets to it. We've tried to break it down into this slide to say, if you want to understand all of the pieces to customer experience, you're going to take in a multitude of facets. So it's going to start with the channels that you offer and all of the solutions that supports them here. You're going to have agent empowerment or that agent engagement tools that allow those agents to be empowered to support those interactions. And then at the bottom of that, you're going to have those core platforms where your customer data resides. And how do you connect with those prospects? How does your agents access the data? It can be a very cumbersome, it can be a very cumbersome, I should say, job to put together a solution today that makes sense. Most of these interactions are, created with some disjointedness just because of all of the various pieces that are required. What CXone does is we have the entire product set in our portfolio. So the need for having third parties who aren't integrated, who don't have an API to the environment, et cetera, all of those things are virtually unnecessary because the platform includes all of them. This is a list of all of those pieces that make up our platform today. You put all of those things together and you'll have the entire journey from the beginning to the end, and we have all of those pieces in between. What you'll see with us today is all native to the platform. We haven't gone out and said, oh, we need this company to do this, so there's an integration you're going to have to, pay for and put resources towards. Everything you'll see is out of the box. So we can turn it on, turn it off as your environment is enhanced, grows, or shrinks as you start maybe automating some things and capabilities. At the bottom of this, or this outer layer, is what we call Enlighten AI. And Enlighten AI is our AI platform that's actually tracking, it's monitoring, it's capturing all of the data and the customer sentiment in that journey. So at any time, you can actually pull out, you can see where's that customer sentiment or where's the next best action, what is the real-time guidance you need to provide that agent for that journey. Some of that, like I said, can be manually provided to an agent, and some of that can be automated now through AI. But Enlighten AI is really the differentiator to our platform today. Just going back to the need for the integration. So out of the box, we've got dozen or so CRMs that we can integrate with. It's just a matter of flipping the switch, and those integrations are automatically built in our platform. But beyond this, we work with many others who may be required to support your knowledge or wherever your customer data is today. As far as our ability to support the platform, we have an underlying telephony platform, so we are our own carrier. What that means is that you can actually port numbers over to us if you'd like. NICE can carry that traffic. We can actually port the numbers right into our cloud, terminate those calls right to your agent wherever they are in the world. We're able to provide that with a MOS 4.0 guarantee, similar to any enterprise grade carrier today, and we've got a 4.9 uptime reliability guarantee. Smattering of some of our security and compliance. All of this is public, or if you'd like specific documentation, we're happy to provide. I talked about a little bit of our integrations from a CRM perspective. We've got over 150 pre-integrated partner apps. So if you've got a texting solution, or if you've got a online pay solution or whatever, we have integrations with a lot of those partners already built today that we can support pretty much out of the box. Again, just highlighting some of our compliance that we meet today. If there's anything specific that you folks need to have done, happy to provide some support. We are one of only a couple FedRAMP certified solutions that are in the CCAS space today. So significant certification that we hold is our FedRAMP status. And then finally, let me just mention to this, you've got a great partner, obviously, with C1. We support them wholeheartedly, and they're going to do a phenomenal job in supporting our platform. We also have additional resources beyond C1 that you can also utilize directly into the CX1 community. So there's an entire portal where you guys can become as advanced and specialized in being able to administer the environment on your own. That starts from, online courses or webinars, or even we have training that are leader-led that you can take advantage of. But like I said, we're here to partner with C1 and provide you the best CX1 platform experience that you can. And in combination with them, you will definitely receive the best level of support that you can. Any questions before I turn things over with Diego about NICE, who we are, what we do?
I had a question about the number porting.
Yeah.
Once we port our numbers to you, how are the calls routed to or from our sites? Is there a SIP trunk between us, or how does that work?
Yes, we do use SIP trunks for most of the connections. And then typically wherever that number exists, we just port it into our cloud. So if someone dials that number, it'll ring into the CX1 platform. We'll put it into your queue or a direct route to the agent at that point.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You bet. SIP trunks are the most, I think, popular connections, but we do have TLS and some other things if you want to or need to go down that route. So you do have some options. Okay. With that said, what I want to do is kind of preface Now handing it off to Diego Cuevas and let him take us through basically kind of where that journey begins with an interaction and how that agent interface would look. Keep in mind, we're going to kind of stay high level. If you folks would like to see a little bit more, don't hesitate to jump in and say, hey, is this available or is this possible? With the time we allotted here, we wanted to really cover a lot of the basics of the platform, and then we can dive in deeper on other subjects if we want to go there at a later date. Diego, I'll let you take the wheel and go forward.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, let me start by sharing my screen here. And let me get a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen there. Yep. Perfect. All right. So we're gonna start, like Scott mentioned in the agenda here. We're gonna start with the agent experience. From the agent experience, then we're gonna jump into a little bit of that backend system. I want to say, show you a little bit of what the admin can do, show you a little bit about what the supervisor can do, and then we'll transition into more of those supervisor tools, such as like supervisor reporting, analytics, and we'll finish it up with a little bit of quality management. And then if we got some time in there, we'll push it into showing you a little bit of what interaction analytics can do. That's with keywords, key phrases, and utilizing our inline tools. But first off, what you're seeing here, this is the ServiceNow integration. And just to kind of show you around here, we are actually available in all of the different workspaces when it comes to ServiceNow. So depending on which workspaces you guys use, for the most part, I see people use the service operation workspace, which is the one I'm currently on. But if anything, all you need to do is switch it. What the system does for us is automatically gonna embed the agent into it. So you can see the agent automatically follows to it. So I'm not sure which workspace you guys are using today, but like I said, any of them will work pretty much the same way with the CX1 agent.
Okay, and so is this a requirement to be on the pro license?
It's not a requirement. No, not at all.
Okay, because we are currently on a legacy license. We are not on pro.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, the same way. I don't currently have the legacy license. So we transition to the new one. But yeah, it will work the same way. The layout will
Okay.
be a little bit different. The layout will actually be on the left side rather than on the right side.
Okay.
Other than that, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, what you're seeing here on the right side, this is our agent, CX1 agent for ServiceNow. Now, this agent could be completely standalone or it could be embedded, like I said, into the ServiceNow. Now, standalone can do a lot of things, such as like being able to take any interactions, such as digital, voice, emails, work items. And when I mean digital is we can get into the weeds of like chat, email, Facebook, social medias, WhatsApp, YouTube comments, if anything. So we can really get into the weeds. We have over 40 different channels and different communications that can come in through the digital side. And I'll probably be doing a couple of them so you guys can see how they come in. Again, what we're going to be doing a lot is going to be focusing on that single pane of glass where you can have all the different interactions just coming in into one single agent in here. Now, with that said, also what you can do in here is going to be the ability to see some of your work schedule. Let's say, for instance, like what am I doing today? This is going to be with our workforce engagement application. I can also request some time off if I need to, let's say, or maybe if I want to take some early leave, or let's say, for instance, I want to make a shift bidding and stuff like that. I can actually do that with our workforce application. Embedded within the CX agent as well. I want to say, very competitive, and I was actually an agent back in my days, and I used to like to think that I wanted to see how well I was doing as an agent as well, right? So how much time I was spending available, working, unavailable. So that's something that is out of the box available on the CX agent. So you can see it here. It gives you a little preview of what your productivity has been for today, but also it gives you a performance of how well am I doing compared to my team, right? So let's say, for instance, how many calls, how many interactions have I taken myself compared to my team? And then from this one, you can do the 7 days, yesterday, or you can customize it to pretty much your liking there. But this is something that your agents can typically have open as they're actually going through their day. Now, any questions before I actually start putting a couple interactions in here?
No.
Perfect. All right. So first one I'm going to put in, it's going to be a call. It's just going to be a regular call coming in. Now you guys are going to see a couple things happening. One of them is going to be a automatic screen pop. Now we can do a couple ways of screen pop. And here, let me actually put the call. And it's also going to be able to identify who the customer is. Okay. So I'll give it a second here. The call should be coming in. Just mute myself here. There you go. Now you were able to notice screen pop automatically happened instantaneously. I was able to identify this is Alex Ferguson as the call came in. I have Alex Ferguson here under my customer card as well. I have all that information that I need as well, just in case I'm using the standalone agent. You can see that I have his email, what queue they came into. In case we're doing any sort of authentication, let's say for instance, like you can do a voice or you can do a multi-step authentication. A lot of the times, this has to be done for people that are making payments or something like that, right? But other than that, you guys can see all the different variables that we can customize to bring over to the agent. On top of that, we also see kind of like our history of what interactions I've had with Mr. Alex Ferguson here in the past. I have a couple calls, couple messages in here. I also have some notes, right? Notes on, oh, Mr. Alex is a gold member. You can see he's a gold member. Make sure we treat him as a gold member. And I also see all the different channels I can communicate with Mr. Alex in case, let's say, for instance, this call gets disconnected. Now, on the bottom, we actually have that integration with ServiceNow. So that contact, let's say for instance, it doesn't pull up or maybe for some reason it didn't pop the screen pop. What we can do is we can always look up that contact. Okay. Now we actually elevated deeper into the ability to actually identify if we have any open cases, any open tasks, any open activities within the actual service now. So I just hit refresh as you saw. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to bring up any cases that are currently open right now, open or new. Okay. And then in this case, I have one that is new. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that one up. So you notice here, the case is new. I'm gonna start working on this case. I'm gonna assign it to myself as obviously generated based on the call. Now, let's say for instance, what do we want to do with this case right now? Eventually, what we want to do is we want to push that data back into the case, right? Such as the disposition notes. So you can see here the disposition notes, the disposition codes as well. Now, all of these could be also dynamically used, such as, let's say, for instance, I want the disposition to automatically close a ticket or automatically close a case. So we can set that up. We can automatically have them create a new ticket, close a new ticket. So depending on the disposition, we can make it dynamically where in your ServiceNow CRM, it's going to do something else than just rather push the data, right? So there's some things that we can do. Um, Now, I'm going to put a hold right now. Any questions
And
before I kind of explain the agent? Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to add, all the dispositions he's showing are completely customizable as to where those fields then fall back into ServiceNow. So
Yep, all of these are customizable. So you guys could definitely go in the back end, set yours up depending for the specific queue, specific agents and stuff like that. So it's really customizable. Now, when it comes to the agent side, here on the bottom, you have all your basic controllers, such as putting the call on hold, muting yourself, masking the call. Now, masking, it's a ability to mask any sensitive information that's coming in. Let's say, for instance, it could be a credit card number, it could be a social security number. We don't want to capture it. What it will do is we will put a white background in if we're recording the screen or if we're actually recording the voice as well, we will just put a white tone that we call it, which is pretty much static in noise, similar to like when you have no connection on your TV, right? So it's pretty much that static in noise. Recording, I'll talk a little bit here about recording, but that has to be done in the back end. We could do it automatically to record on command all the calls or all the interactions, or we can have them, or your agents record pretty much on demand, right? So depending on what you guys want to do, you have a couple options, right? When it comes to recording. You also have the ability to do multiple ways of transferring. So you can do a console transfer, or you can do a automatically just transfer it to someone, right? So in this case, let me look for Trevor. Trevor's another SE of that we work together. So for instance, I want to just call Trevor. I can do a merge and then transfer that call, introduce the customer, right? Or I can automatically just do a blind transfer that we call it, right? So couple ways that we can do it. Not only we can call agents, but we can also call skills. And one thing I want to mention about skills for us, it's named as skills, but a lot of people knows them as queues, right? So the queues are for us skills. So that way you don't get confused. So the skills, you can look up any different skills. Let's say this call came in for tier 1 support. Maybe we want to transfer it into a tier 2, tier 3 support. Then we can do that, right? We can either look an agent that is available, or we can actually just transfer it to that specific queue and then just drop it in there so they can continue to wait. I also have the ability to include external directories. Okay, so just in case you have an external directory, or maybe you have partners you guys work with, and you guys have a custom directory that you guys need to look up, or a specific phone number, all you guys need to do is include that external directory. And if you see right here on the bottom, it includes a directory. This person is not logged in, but it gives me all that information about that contact. So contact directories are also available that you guys can customize it in here. Perfect. Any questions so far about the agent? Any questions about how the call comes in? Any question about pretty much what's happening with the call?
Yeah, I had a question for you, Diego. So since you guys don't have skills and your skills are basically queues, what kind of algorithms do you have for distributing calls for different people? Like, let's say you had 10 people, and in your environment, you're going to have skills. So let's say there's 3 skills. So how do you just say configure John Doe with skill A and B and Mary with B and C? Is there a priority thing that you could do, like a number of priority that you could designate for a person so that they get more calls on one skill versus another?
Yeah, and great question there. Now, when I meant with skills, I didn't mean that we don't have skill-based routing. Now, when I meant with skills was just more on the queues, right? So we know them as skills. I don't know, for some reason they named them skills instead of queues,
Yeah.
right? But we do have the ability to do skill-based routing. So in case you guys want to do, let's say, for instance, I have a Spanish inbound queue, right? Where I have my most efficient, let's say, person in Spanish to be the highest one, right? So we can definitely set it up and go that direction. We have multiple ways of routing as well. We have what we call our bullseye routing. We also have what we call our new intelligent AI routing, which in my opinion, it's honestly one of the best ones. I want to say it allows you to not only identify the caller ahead of time, but it also identifies the way that the caller speaks. Let's say, since we have data already and recorded, let's say, interactions with this customer, what we will identify is this customer a really outgoing customer? Let's say they like to speak a lot. How's your day going? And this and that. I like to ask questions. In comparison to, like, let's say, oh, this is a customer that just likes to get to the point, answer the questions, and kind of get out of it, right? So we have the ability to do those AI routings as well. And I can talk more about it later on in depth as we go through different demos as we go, right? But I can definitely talk more when it comes to the IBR routings.
And do you
Um,
record by default, or do you have to manually record each time?
no, you can record it by default as well.
Okay.
It's just a setting in the backend where we adjust it.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's audio screen, our options.
Yep, that's both audio and screen. So you have the capability of recording both.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Now, I do want to give you guys a little glance as well of what it will look like to have multiple interactions, right? Coming in to my agent, making sure that my agent has the ability to not only answer calls, but the ability to be able to take a different interaction as he's working on that call, right? So I'm going to put in another interaction and I'm just going to send myself an SMS, which is coming in right now. If you notice, it automatically came in here. I can go in there, take a look at that SMSs came in. Now that SMS came in, automatically loaded for me. I do have the customer card, which is going to be the ability to identify that number. Now that number identifies as Alice Ferguson. Alice Ferguson has to have pretty much that number associated to his phone. So that's why it's coming up in there. So I can pull up the contact if I need to as well. Now, going back into the interaction here when it comes to the messages, I also have the ability not only to use what we call our quick replies, but we also have the ability to start then using what we consider our co-pilot. Now, this is something where Virgie and her team is more of an expert, but I'm going to give you guys just a little tease of what it looks like when it comes about using that specific co-pilot instant, right? So like a co-pilot is pretty much our AI system that is going to be assisting the agent. More or less on either providing the best next action, also pretty much providing the best suitable responses for the customer, but also it's going to be able to identify, go back in your backend system when it comes to knowledge articles, identify, oh, how is, let's say, something set up, how do I reset a password, very frequent question asked, right? And stuff like that. So here I'm going to show you one, pretty much how easy it is, right? So all I need to say is something pretty much that happens on a daily basis, right? Now that's when I'm gonna focus it more on like, hey, I lost my credit card, so I need help, right? So once that comes in, so give me a second, there we go. So I lost my credit card and I need help getting a new one, maybe, right? Now you automatically starting to notice the AI. It popped up right here. So it's telling me, oh, sorry about that you lost your credit card. Can you provide me more information about your card that it was lost? Now, not only I have one response that I can automatically send out to my customer, but I have multiple responses so I don't sound like a robot, right? So again, I can easily do that automatically here and send it out. So one of the three responses I can send it, and then my agent is gonna be sending it out to the customer.
Hey,
Now,
Diego.
yeah, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, if you send that out and it was an accident, can you retract that from the chat or
Yes,
does it stay?
no. We can definitely retract that from the chat. So what we would technically do in that instance, what we would do is we put a delay. So we'll put a 30-second delay, depending on how delay you want it to be. So we can do a 15, 30-second delay in order for us to retract that, right?
Gotcha. Is that in the settings, like administration, or is that for each agent?
No, that's gonna be a global setting that we call it. So it's in the administration. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no problem. Now, as I continue, let's say, to the conversation, I want to sound frustrated, right? Let's say, for instance, we also want to capture what is the sentiment, and I believe that was asked earlier in our call. So I'm gonna say, um, very, I'm very disappointed with your product. Okay. And what that's going to do is going to start triggering now the negative sentiment into this specific interaction that is coming in, right? Now, it's going to start apologizing and again giving us the best next action of what we need to do to answer that customer. Now, if you notice right here, I also have the co-pilot icon. What that allows me to do is I can automatically start generating a summary of what's going on in the interaction, let's say. So what's going on in the actual conversation? In this case, we lost a credit card, but we're also disappointed with our product. Not only we started with a neutral sentiment, but we're also decreasing that sentiment and going into a negative sentiment now. Okay. Any questions so far?
So as far as the sentiment, does that alert a manager?
That's a great question, and I can't see who said that, but that's is a really Great question to ask. And yes, later on, I'll be showing you guys a different way that we can actually view it from the supervisor side. We can set up alerts based on negative sentiment. We can set up alerts based on specific working stage. Let's say, for instance, this interaction has been going on for 14, 15 minutes, let's say. If it's longer or than the SLA, then we can start triggering some alerts as well. Why are you guys spending so much time and stuff like that? But yeah, definitely, that's something that we can do in the supervisor side.
Okay.
Perfect. I also just sent another message that says I would like to speak to your supervisor, so you guys can see automatically starts updating that specific auto summary here. Now that auto summary, eventually, what it's going to be doing, we're going to be pushing that auto summary into what we call our pretty much our contact, or what we have here, which is going to be our case. Now, in order for us to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the customer card. I'm going to refresh one more time. I'm gonna find that specific case, right? Find that case one more time. And what that's gonna allow me to do, oh, I was in the wrong one. Here we go. Find that case, and what that's gonna allow me to do, it's gonna allow me to push that information into that case. Okay, so depending on which case we want to update, we can update multiple ones, or we can update even the contact in case we're making any changes to the contact. Automatically can be automated from the actual CX1 agent. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the call, but without actually having to input the notes in here. So give me just 1 second here. I'm just gonna input some notes. This is from the call. Okay, so I have it set up from the call. Let's say credit card, and I'm gonna go and just steal that one from the actual SMS interaction that we had here. We'll steal that one from here. You guys don't have to do this. I'm just doing it because I only did it in the beginning from the call. There we go. So manage from the call, and there we go. So I'm just going to paste it in here. And then what that's going to allow me to do now, since I selected the case, it's going to push it into the case. And you guys are going to see how fast it actually updates the case. Okay. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to end the call. Okay. So as soon as I end the call, you guys are going to be able to see a push into that specific CRM. And I already did it. You guys probably blink and you guys probably didn't see it, but it's already here. So if you guys notice, it actually updated the activity channel that it came into, who was it handled by, what was the disposition code, and what is the disposition notes. Okay, so you guys notice here, lost her credit card, needed assistance, was very disappointed with the product, and wanted to speak to a supervisor. Okay, now this is just a general summary that I have. I have a quick summary, but we can do it more in detail if you want to, right? So we can be more in detail, such as call came in, customer had a question about card being lost, wanted to speak to a supervisor because he was very disappointed with the product. But also we can include even the sentiment, right? Where at the beginning of the call, sentiment was neutral, started decreasing into a negative sentiment. And then eventually, let's say if we get it back into a neutral state, or maybe get it back into a positive state, it's going to allow me to pretty much put it in there as well, where we can say, oh, the successful was positive sentiment, where we had a resolution to the problem to the customer, right? So all of that could be combined. I just have a quick summary in there, but those are settings that we can do in the back end. Okay. Any questions so far about what just happened here, with the case, with the call, everything, all the activity that it was logged within the case? Is that something that you guys probably looking to do when it comes to
Yes.
integrating with your CRM?
Yes.
Yeah, so let me just highlight the few things that Diego demonstrated, because there's really 4 capabilities within Copilot. So you saw there was customer sentiment. So you'll have that real-time customer sentiment being shown to your agent. You'll have real-time interaction guidance. So you'll have those phrases on how to respond shared with the agent. All of those customizable, but you'll have those options presented to the agent where you can point and click, push that into the customer's hands. Then you're going to have the next best action. And next best action could be knowledge or content that you want to provide that agent to share. So Copilot can actually say, oh, they want to reset a password. We will push that link or that action, that content right to the agent where they can point and click and share it. So that knowledge base comes from your environment, and we build some guardrails around to make sure that we're only connecting with that data, that wherever that sits and resides is available for Copilot. And then finally, we do an auto summary. And I think that that's coming up in the future, but auto summary will then, once you close that, it'll summarize that interaction, then push it right into that case or that task or whatever wherever you want that disposition and summary to go. So 4 things that Copilot. These are all automated, as you saw. So Diego will take us through now. Where can we do this manually if we want to, let's say, see it at the agent level where it's not within this AI space? Did I tee that up for you, Diego?
Yep, that's perfectly fine. All right. Now, if you guys want to do it manually, like Scott mentioned, yeah, everything can be done manually as well. Here on the bottom, we have the ability to type as well, right? So in case you guys want to type something like, hello, my name is Diego, right? And I'll be assisting you today. So, I mean, you always have that capability of you having to be an agent and being able to reply back directly from here. Okay. So hopefully that answered a couple questions when it comes to the CX1 agent. Now, I only put a couple interactions, like I said, but again, all of the different interactions can come in here, similar way that this two came in to the agent. And now you also notice that we only did it in a single pane of glass, right? We didn't move around. We were in a single pane of glass here with the CX agent, and all the different interactions will come in into one's pretty much point of contact here.
And so if we have a user call in, like let's say it's a warehouse worker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they call in and it comes in from the main number, right? They don't have a direct dial number. How would that work? We just have to manually enter everything. It won't auto populate.
Let's say it's coming from your warehouse, let's say, so it's a phone number that it's in your system.
Yep.
Yeah, or what we can also do is all we need to do is look up that customer. So we can do a lookup for customer in the CRM, and then we could just match it there. And once it's mapped, what we will do is we'll just push pretty much either what was talked on the call, even the point to a recording link if you guys want to do that, if you guys are recording. So that's all the capabilities that we could definitely do. So it'll be more of a lookup if you guys want to do that.
Okay. But it'll still automatically populate the case or interaction or whatever you guys want to call it, right? After
Yeah,
we
so
do the lookup.
exactly. It'll automatically do that for you.
Okay.
Hmm?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Is there any questions more when it comes to the agent? I would just want to be vigilant of time and be able to show you the rest of the tools.
Is that G there for Grammarly? Like, is there a spell check in there?
No, this is just mine. It's just living in my computer all the time. I keep forgetting to turn it off for certain pages. There you go.
Is there spell check in there? So we're typing things, it makes logical sense. It'll
Oh,
correct
yeah.
us and be like, hey, silly.
It will definitely tell you that it's wrong. It won't automatically do a check and automatically switch it for you, but it's similar to, let's say, Word, where it will highlight it for you and say that it's wrong, and then your computer or your system will automatically tell you how to correctly write it.
So can you type hello missing one L so I can see that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna highlight it, and then obviously once your system, you can correct it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
No problem.
And Diego, one thing to point out too is as they're looking at the interaction from the voice perspective, which is in that kind of left column there where you can see it's been going. So this one is our SMS interaction, but it was a voice previously, right? There's no limit to how many interactions you will allow your agent. Obviously, there's a level to which how many interactions that people can maintain at any given time, but there is no limit. But the idea that you could say, hey, a call could come in and that agent is on the phone, you will have the option. If the next call comes in, you can do a send a voicemail, you can do a call back in queue, meaning that they can receive a call back from that agent. There's many options that are available so that you don't have people waiting. It can match the requirements you set within the business. So I just want to point that out, that there is no limit, but obviously you want to respond to calls in an appropriate amount of time, and we can match that with your requirements.
Yeah, I think it's got a great point to point out. And I actually just put in a call again. So you have the call, you have the SMS that we had since the beginning, but you also, I put in a chat. So you guys will be able to see a chat come in. So you guys can see it gives you different icons, but everything will come up into the left-hand side here where you guys could easily be able to identify and be able to move around. So let's say if when a message comes in, it'll give you like the same little notification on your iPhone where it has a little red dot on the top. Alrighty. So let's transition now into what we call our supervisor. Is that okay, Scott? Just jumping into there.
That's great. You bet.
All right. So give me 1 second here. Let me bring my other page here. All right. Now, when it comes to supervisor, I want to touch a little bit on dashboards at the beginning here, and then we'll jump into supervisors. Now, dashboards, pretty much they're out of the box as well. So you guys could come in here, customize your dashboards as much as you want. Now, this is a pretty much a dashboard that I customize just based on things. Again, I was an agent before, so I remember some of the things that I used to look at when I was working in the either on the hotline or either pretty much just answering customer questions. So you guys can see some of them are going to be, for example, average handle time, speed of answers, have I had any abandoned calls today, how many contacts or let's say cases have I closed today, what is my longest wait time, right? How long do I have in that queue that I have persons or people sitting in there? And then obviously how many people I have sitting in the type of queues that I'm associated. Okay, so those are some key that I call it key KPIs that we can associate. Now, these are completely customizable. Like I said, all you need to do is come in here on the top. You guys can start adding the different widgets that we have. And what's really nice about it is that all you need to do is drag and drop it. So all you need to do is come in here, drag and drop it, and then you'll be able to start associating those new widgets into it. Now, other things that we can associate here as well are going to be, let's say, for instance, agent states. How what are all the agents doing? How many agents do I have available? We can do it more on a graphical way as well if we need to do that. We can do a counter for how many contacts we have on queue, and we can even start going a little bit deeper into quality management as well, right? Who are my best top 3 agents who are getting 100% every single time in every interaction compared to who are my worst agents, right? Who are my worst agents that are constantly not doing so well, that need improvement? And I have them right here and available where I can obviously start pointing them out. I also have the ability to see how many times they have been evaluated for the past 7 days. And then in here, I also have another way of viewing who was evaluated today in the last 7 days, month, and I can see how many of those evaluations were completed. Okay. Top categories, what are people calling in about, such as agent maybe making a return, maybe trying to do a new purchase. So all of those things are going to be available here based on keywords, key phrases, and available directly into our interactions tool that we have, which I'm going to get into it a little bit later. But these are just, again, basic widgets that we can actually customize in case also we want to display it. Let's say we want to display it into a monitor or maybe display it in a big screen TV for our agents. We can also do that. So we have the ability to do it with this little icon here where we can push it or maybe share this specific dashboards with them. Not only the supervisor will be able to see it, but also the agents. Okay. So again, this is our dashboards, really customizable. So in case you guys want to start creating those dashboards for your agents or for your specific teams. Okay. Any questions?
No, that's great.
Hey,
Perfect.
Diego, you guys use the word dashboard along with wallboards in the same context, or you guys have wallboards that are separate from dashboards?
We have wall boards as well that are separate
Yeah,
from
wallboards
dashboards.
would be, yeah. Yeah, we can do wallboards. That would be a separate uh, feature within these capabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can
Okay.
get into that later. Again, I can't see the screen, so I'm not sure who asked that, but we can get into that later. That's going to be considered our performance management tool if you guys want to do wall boards. Okay. All right, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch a little bit and go into what we call our supervisor tool. Okay. Now, supervisor tool allows you to do quite a lot of things in here. Okay, so now it's gonna allow you to see not only what the actual agent is doing, but what actually is happening within my different queues. Okay, now what I like about it is that again, going back into me being an agent, being a supervisor before, I wanted to have these tools before where I couldn't have them before. Okay, such as let's say for instance now I have an SLA that I need to meet with this specific queues, right? Now, some of them, as you can see, are not getting meet or met. You guys can see here, some of them are zero because we have three contacts hitting on the queue, but no one available to take those calls. Okay. So what typically happens is we will switch agents, move them around in order for us to accommodate those SLAs, correct? Now, for us to do that, we have to go into the back end and switch the agents and do all of those crazy stuff. Now, in this system now allows you to do it directly from here. So all I need to do is select that specific queue that I want to switch people from. And then in here, all I need to do is look up those agents that are not assigned yet. So unassigned agents, so take for instance, I want to assign Tomas, maybe I want to assign Jed or even Brent into it. All I need to do is assign them, or I can just look up for myself here. Diego, it's gonna assign myself in there, and it's gonna allow me to do, it's gonna assign me to that specific queue, so I can start taking those interactions. Now, as I take those interactions, I can go back into the active assign, and I can adjust my proficiency. Okay, so I think earlier the question was asked if we have skill-based routing. So this is where we can adjust our proficiency to adjust that skill-based routing. Okay, so the lower the proficiency, so meaning the lower the number, the higher I am at that specific pretty much taking care of things, right? So if I'm proficient in Spanish, number one will be that I'm really proficient. When it comes to number 10, I'm pretty poor when it comes to speaking Spanish. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense there. So again, one thing that we were able to do here is the ability to move agents around without having to leave this single pane of glass. We were able to adjust their proficiency directly from here as well. Okay, if at any time you want to unassign them or change their state or get them out of the way, all you need to do is simply come in here and then readjust them. Okay. Any questions so far about the skills, being able to move agents around, or being able to accommodate the SLAs?
No.
Okay, perfect. So hopefully that answered a couple questions there that we had earlier. Um, Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on show you guys a little bit of what the agents can do, right? So when it comes to the agents, we have also those capabilities of being able to see how many interactions those agents are taking, what are they actually doing throughout the day, right? So we want to be able to know what they're doing at all times. Now in here, you guys can see actually has 5 different interactions happening at the same time. Now we can take a look at all those different contacts that are happening. He has a line message, he has a WhatsApp message, I believe that's Telegram, Instagram, and also a Messenger. So I can see all of those different interactions happening. Now, in case I do want to monitor one of those, all I need to do is make sure that I can come in here and start monitoring those specific chats. Okay, so once I go monitor the chat, it could be a call, it could be anything, right? You guys could come in here and monitor any of those. So that gives me the ability to monitor not only one, but multiple interactions at the same time if I need to. Okay. Now I can start either monitoring the screen as well. So in case that screen is available, I'll be able to see what they're doing at all times. I can coach directly, Ash directly here. I can also join that interaction if I need to. Okay. And if she's not doing so well, right, all I can do is take over that interaction as well. Okay. So to have all those different capabilities when it comes to the monitor whispering. And on top of that, we actually included the ability to start evaluating this interaction. Okay. So not only we have the capability of being able to monitor and help out the agent, but we also have the capability of coming in here. And as we're going through that interaction, right, we're going to be pretty much hearing and taking a look at what's going on. We can start grading that interaction, right, based on how well did they do? Did they introduce themselves correctly to the contact? Did they actually met the customer with the branding, such as the name of the company? Also, let's say, for instance, were they authenticated? Did they mention the loyal program? So these are just basic questions that I have in my questionnaire when it comes to evaluating. But these are ways that we can actually start evaluating that interaction directly from the supervisor page. All right, so I'm gonna close all this down. I know I've been talking so fast and so much. Any questions so far about the different supervisor tools that we have?
Yeah, I didn't see the sentiment.
Great question there. And that's actually where I'm going next. So I do have a call sitting pretty much on the line, and that's going to be under our contacts, right? So I do have that call happening. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger not only sentiment, but I'm also going to trigger alerts for you guys here. So give me a second. I'm going to unmute myself, and I'm just going to say some negative things about pretty much either the product or stuff like that, right? So it can trigger an alert for my supervisor. Hi, yeah, I'm just calling in because I lost my credit card and I'm very frustrated with your service. I would like to speak to one of your supervisors. You say they're not available. Maybe I would like to speak to one of your managers. So here, we're gonna see if it actually triggers the actual call. I do remember having to be on hold for too long, so I'm not sure if it's gonna automatically start doing it. But let me just look if my call is still active. Yeah, my call is still active. Be able to see that call happening. Um, yeah, the sentiment didn't come. Yeah, hold on, give it a second. Yeah, like I said, maybe I was just sitting in that call for too long. All right, let's see. Alerts. All right, so no alerts are coming in. I was just sitting there for too long. But here, let me show you here the way that we can do it. So in here, we have negative way of adjusting that sentiment. So let's say a negative call comes in or a negative keyword, key phrase gets triggered. We will then actually have that interaction come in, alert the supervisor. We can even put a kind of like a chime in there to alert the supervisor so they can go in there and take a look. So there's the audio chime that we can do. We also have the ability to do it based on the agent state that I remember showing you earlier. So for, let's say for some reason they've been on a call for too long, maybe they haven't come back from break and stuff like that, or maybe they forgot to put themselves unavailable while they were on break. Then you have also the capability of switching their status based on that agent state alert. And then we also have an urgent assistant. Okay. Now, urgent assistant, this is actually more from the AI perspective. Now, not only is going to take into consideration the agent state, the negative sentiment, but also it's going to take the ability to know just in case if it's really a negative sentiment or if it's not a negative sentiment, right? Now, right now we're triggering things with keywords and key phrases. Now, our AI is going to determine, oh, you know what? They say supervisor. Now, supervisor will usually trigger a negative sentiment, right? Now, negative sentiment doesn't just mean supervisor, right? It could be something like, oh, yeah, you have a great supervisor, right? That's a positive, right? That's not a negative. So, what it's going to allow us to do is just going to ignore it. And then when it's really an urgent assistance required, then it's going to trigger it, right? Because we have that back end system where it's going to do that natural language that it's going to understand what we're talking about, right? It's not just gonna say, oh, bring your supervisor. I just need to speak to someone higher than you, right? It's going to actually take in consideration such things like, are you going to be able to handle it before we trigger a supervisor, right? Are you going to be able to take what we call our real-time guidance, such as, let's say, are you going to take ownership of that specific call before we bring in a actual supervisor? Okay, so those are some alerts, and I can give you a lot of different documentation when it comes to how to use this urgent assist and how it's actually utilized with our enlightening tools, which is the AI tools that we call it. Unfortunately, I can't get that thing to trigger. Again, I probably sit in there for too long. If anything, at the end of the call, I can probably put in another call so I can show you how it's done and how I can actually perform it for you guys.
Hey,
Any
Diego,
question? Yeah.
let me also mention too, while this thought came across, is that we like to create a digital landing page for all of the customers who see the demo at this point. And we'll send the link out after this call. And in that digital landing resource page is that you'll be able to click on a lot of these individual capabilities, whether it's QM or PM or things that we discussed. And it'll be a 2-minute video that'll demo more precisely. So if there's something that we didn't show or get to, we'll let you follow up and go to that page and just spend a few minutes looking at some of those, and then you'll be able to see that kind of real-time alerting in action. One thing I want to mention too is that what you're seeing here is really out of the box standard with our agent license. And how we look at a license is it doesn't matter what that role is. If you're a supervisor, an administrator, or an agent, you're still just the same license. So if you're looking at, hey, we have X amount of supervisors, they'll be on the same license that an agent would. But what you'll do is you'll designate with those roles specific capabilities where agents could not change, et cetera, or administration level folks have the ability to change certain functions. So keep that in mind. And Diego, I see you got it up, so I'll turn it back to you. Oh, now you're muted, I think.
Sorry, I was talking to mute, guys. But yeah, I put in another call, and then now you guys are noticing that the actual sentiment is coming in. So sentiment is coming in. I also said that I need to reset my password, and I'm very disappointed with the service, right? So now you guys were able to see that that negative sentiment came in here, and then the actual alert hasn't been triggered yet. So that's great. Give me 1 second. I would like to speak to your supervisor. So that's going to trigger an alert for us. So I can actually go in there and start monitoring that specific interaction. Okay. So, oh, you know why? Sorry. I keep forgetting I can't monitor myself because I'm in the same call, right? But if I wanted to monitor myself, all I need to do is, let's say, for instance, come in here and start monitoring. But yeah, unfortunately, this is one of the caveats when it comes to doing a demo, right? I can monitor myself. But yeah, you guys are able to see pretty much the negative sentiment and the alerts that come in here. Okay, that's pretty much the only caveat that I have. I can do a quick video later on for you guys if you guys need it. But then this is the way that you guys can come in here and take a look at the sentiment, but also the alerts. Okay.
But you can't look at the transcription of the call to see what happened or what they were talking about.
We cannot see the live transcription right now. If you do want to see the transcription, we have it more in a historical way of viewing that transcription. In case you do want to hop into that call, like I said, you can do the monitor whisper options. That's pretty much will be the only way that you guys can come in here and take a look at that. Yeah, the only other thing that I want to say that you guys could probably be able to see is going to be the ability to see what are the best next actions, right? So for instance, let's say if I say I want to reset my password. So that's going to trigger, you can see here the best next action, right? So instead of saying, oh, here's how to do the reset password, it's going to not only send it to the agent, but it's also going to send it to the supervisor and tell them, oh, maybe they're speaking about resetting a password, right? And then it provides them guidance on, oh, make sure you provide the self-service way of how to reset the password. So those are some of the things that we can actually see when it comes to sentiment, but also real-time guidance.
Yeah. And just
Hey, I
to
did want to
clarify,
ask a question. I don't I know we don't have a lot of time, but I did want to point this out. How would this application work if we decided to use this for some people, but then others, they can still use this, but with a physical phone? How would that work?
Yeah, it will work the same way, honestly. We're just gonna be able to connect our leg differently. So we call it our connecting our leg, right? So when we connect, and here, let me actually show you guys here on the agent side of the house. So when we log out, let me log out real quick for you and log back in here. So what that's gonna allow me to do is it's gonna allow me to select how I want my calls to come in, right? So and we do have a way to show here the multiple step authentication for our security purpose. So I'm just gonna grab that real quick and see where this one went.
Or single sign-on is also an option that can be configured. So if they log into ServiceNow, it can open up your CX1.
Yeah, so multiple ways that you guys could utilize that single sign-on or multiple step authentication. Maybe I'm putting in my password wrong.
And just to clarify, while you're doing that, if you did get an alert and you wanted to go into the QM piece and you could monitor that interaction
let's
live,
try it
that's
this
where
way.
you would go to do that.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. So when we do the voice preferences, you guys can see either we can set up a phone number. So that could be that specific, let's say for instance, that hard phone number. So all we need to do is put that phone number. Or if we have a session ID, so a lot of the times people like to share devices, let's say, where they have a specific device just sitting for a community. All they need to do is enter that session ID, or the one that I was doing right now, which is the WebRTC one, which is going to allow you to do it directly from the browser. So you have different options. And then same thing, we will monitor everything the same way here.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have folks with a hard phone and they want that number to ring at that hard phone, they would just log on and choose that option. So it is possible. It is configurable.
Yep.
Okay.
Diego?
So
Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
say, Scott, we had that, but like let's say this is not the support desk, so we haven't ported it. I don't think we would port all these other steel companies' numbers to you. So would that be a PSTN call, and there would be rates, I would imagine?
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
it will be. Yep.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
We don't have to port the numbers. It's an option for you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Diego, I just think in the last minute here, maybe you want to touch on analytics, and while you're maybe pulling that up, I was gonna mention too that I'm local to the Phoenix area. Diego can fly in at any time. We always welcome opportunities for workshops. One of the next steps that we can also plan to do with you folks is if you want to look at putting together what we call a proof of value, where we will put a sandbox environment with some users together, schedule a length of time of what KPIs we want to see in action. We can even blend it in with some of the things in your environment. So proof of values are something that we welcome and we're happy to organize. Diego?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Yeah, that's something that we actually been doing quite often, which actually we're doing one next week. All right. So here we're under an analytics. Now, again, everything lives within the same application panel. And that's why I was kind of pointing that out here that I was going through this. So this is considered in our data, in our analytics. So this is also considering the dashboards and the reporting. So analytics allows you to not only take a look of the data that is coming in, right? We're also going to be able to capture a lot of the different things that are going to be happening within our company, right? So now, to kind of give you a little bit high level of what it looks like. So we have different workspace where we can actually just automatically start setting up those workspace, right? So in this case, we want to do maybe a contact center. What are the top issues, right? Maybe we want to actually find out what are my best CSAT scores, or what are the actual CSATs that are actually happening within my company. So all of these are already workspaces that are out of the box where you guys could come in here and just start selecting one of them, right? Now, for this specific scenario, all I selected was the contact center out of the box workshop workspace, which allows you to do a lot of things, right? So it allows you to see all the sentiment that is coming in based on all of the different interactions that I have throughout the day. So all throughout the day, I had around 1,500 different interactions. It gives me all the percentage of how much hours I spend in my system today, how many of those interactions have been negative compared to how many of them have been positive. So I have all of that information available in here. Now, that's just pretty much kind of touching or scraping the iceberg, right? Now, in case we do want to go and dive deeper into that specific data, all we need to do is come in here and select which of the data that I want to go into, right? So which of those interactions now going into the different channels do I want to go in there and pursue? Now, it could be a voice channel, it could be an email, it could be a chat. Any of the channels are available here, okay? And I'll go in there a little bit. Let me just explain you all the different things that we can do, right? So other things can be like, oh, what are the some of the keywords that are actually being said the most today, right? Help looks like it was said about seven, almost 8,000 times today, right? So help is a really big keyword that is being mentioned today. I can go in there again, take a look at all the different interactions where that help actual keyword has been used, as well as what are people actually talking about today. Now, this one not only gives you the negative and the positive keywords of sentiment that are actually being utilized, right? But it also tells you if we want to include or exclude certain specific words, and I can go in there and actually start showing all the different interactions. And again, all of these are just widgets that allows you to pretty much help you and go take a look at those specific trends of when it comes to keywords, key phrases, even sentiment trend that we have available in here. And you have the ability to do different type of graphs. It could be a pie chart as well that you guys have in here. And we also have what are pretty much the most unresolved interactions, right? What are we getting pretty much frustration levels on, right? So those are some of the things that we can actually perform when it comes to our AI analytics tool. Now, I do want to go into one of them so you guys can see, let's say, for instance, here, what are people talking about, right? So we have an overall, we have an actual term of interest, but we also have sentiment type that we can select. Now, I just want to go into one that it says issues here. So issues allows me to select all the different interactions, and I just want to find out what are some of the issues that people are having today. Okay, so let's just let it load up here in a little bit. So there's a lot of data within our system, so that's why it's gonna probably take a little while here to load. But let's see if I can select a shorter amount of data that I have in here. Let me just select a different database or a different dashboard, so you guys can see it. Different dashboard with less people usually tend to work better. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna do supervisor for you guys. Supervisor, show my interactions. There we go. Now, under supervisor, and then there's our call. So you guys can see some of the different calls that I had. Now, I'm gonna just select pretty much the first one so you guys can see it. Now, this is some of the things that I call in for and pretty much was talking with the agent, right? Now, I have the entire call summarized, I'm sorry, transcribed so you guys can see here. And I believe that was another question asked earlier, if we can transcribe it. So we can transcribe it, but this is going to be more in the historical side of the house, right? Where we can go after the call and take a look at what was transcribed for us. Now, the reason why we're doing this right now after the call is because we're giving you a 99.99% accuracy when it comes to the transcription. So a lot of the times when it comes to transcription, they're not as accurate as we want to say when they're doing them live, but when it's coming to the actual backend system, we can guarantee you a 99 again 0.9 percent that it's going to be really accurate to what the actual conversation was said. Now, in here, what are some of the things that we can do, right? So we can actually come in here and take a look. Oh, we want to look for sentiment. We want to look for frustration. Maybe we want to look for different categories, right? So when it comes to frustration, what are some of the frustrations that are actually categorized with frustration? And one of them is your manager. I want to speak to your manager. I'm really upset. I'm very upset of a product of yours, right? So those are some of the keywords that automatically start popping up in our interaction. Now, this interaction can then later be used to create what we call our template or our language models to then be utilized to either auto answer within Copilot or autopilot that we call it. So then later on, let's say a same scenario comes in, then our system automatically knows how to handle this similar interactions, right? Where they're frustrated with their system, where they can't log in, where they lost their credit card. So those are some of the things that we, as the AI system, is going to allow you to create those language models, those routing capabilities. So then later on, all those interactions can be either automated or then for your agents to have the best suited actions when they're actually helping these frustrated customers. Okay. On the bottom here, you also have the ability to play that recording. So you have the recording here on the left as a stereo recording where you have the customer in one ear and when you have the agent on the other ear. Okay, you can crop, you can do some comments in here. If you want to send it to an agent as well, we can send it to an agent in case we want to ask questions what happened in this specific amount of time, right? So those are some of the things that we can do in here. And then later on, as we progress, maybe through another demo, I'll show you guys how we can use this interaction to actually put it together into a quality management, into a quality management coaching tool, right? So that way you guys can push all these coaching tools into your agents, letting them know, hey, this interaction could definitely be used or of a way that you guys could train your agents, right? Maybe it could be a new agent coming in, or it could be just all your agents in general. Any questions so
Hey,
far?
Diego, I think we kind of have to end the call, but I
Uh,
did want to ask one last question. We had talked about doing a SIP trunk initially to integrate this system with our communications manager system, but if we're having to enter a phone number to deliver the call to, wouldn't that go through the SIP trunk, or is that still a PSTN call?
So it's going to depend on if you want that call routed through your telephony, like a PBX solution, and then to the contact center. So we potentially would probably not have a SIP, but we just have an internet. We'd send the call via the internet. So there are ways in which but yeah, we can integrate with a premise-based telephony solution. No problem. We've got multiple ways to do that. We have a connectivity engineer that will sit down and advise after understanding the environment. What's the outcome that we want to see, and we can solve that in a couple different ways. We've moved contact centers from the premise to the cloud over 2,000 times in our history, and we've been able to maintain the connectivity with the premise-based telephony piece along with that. So we have options. Yeah.
All right. Well, I have to get going, just like the rest of my team. So we're gonna regroup and discuss what we saw and I guess what we liked, and then get back to you guys, or I guess converge one.
Sounds good, Julio.
That'll be great. And we'll send out our recording and then our resource page for you folks here later today. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.